Hello guys, welcome to my channel. V3 changes are finally out, so let's talk about them. Alice has received extensive rework. Already in the prior V2 changes, she was kinda reworked already, but now she received even more rework and changes, and no longer she seems to be a quote-unquote physical Miyabi. Now she no longer scales off critical damage at all as a normally character. So let's go over Alice changes first. So the removed mechanics from the old Alice kit, no longer she is crit based. Also the forced assaults, which you could automatically trigger from my understanding with X special attack, chain and ultimate, has been removed. The sword chi gauge, now it's called sword etiquette. I mean, she does seem to be like a royalty aristocrat type of character. I believe she's friend with Lucy or something like that, so it makes sense. Also the previous defense shred effects have been removed from the core skill and moved to her dupe, M1 specifically. Also the core skill stat gain has changed to anomaly mastery, so you'll be able to get 142 anomaly mastery at max level. As for new mechanics for Alice, whenever you deal damage with Alice, she will accumulate her own sword etiquette gauge up to 300. It seems to be similar to Evelyn's, so looks like you'll have to actually have Alice be doing the stuff to get this gauge up. Maybe not necessarily as much from other teammates as before. Also, whenever Alice inflicts a normal assault or any character triggering a disorder, sword etiquette plus 6. Wait, 6 out of 300 points. Yeah, that does seem kinda little, but perhaps they kind of want you to do more stuff with her to get these charges by the looks of it. Also, with old basic attack, you will consume sword etiquette, and for every 100 etiquette points used, that is, she will gain 1 stardust. So it does seem to be kind of similar to Evelyn's gauge barting. Also, when Alice has stardust, when any teammate triggers any anomaly, Alice consumes 1 stardust and inflicts a polar assault. Apparently, this is similar to Vivian's feathers. Also, polar assault will cause disorder with any element, including regular assault. The more I read these kit changes, the more she gives me vibes that she's gonna end up being something like Vivian / Bernie's type of a character. But nevertheless, let's continue with the kit. It also says that unlike Yanagi's polar disorder, Alice's polar assault will override the current anomaly, so that is quite interesting. Also, while enemies are afflicted by a physical attribute anomaly, specifically the flinch effect, Alice will also add a damage over time on top on the enemy. Alright, it does scale 6% of regional assault damage per second. And also, whenever a physical attribute anomaly has been disordered, for every 1 second of flinch remaining, increases disorder motion value by plus 43%. I believe flinch lasts 10 seconds. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but this seems to be quite potent. I guess I can also mention quickly what flinch is. Basically, flinch will be applied on enemies immediately after you perform a physical attribute anomaly on an enemy, and flinch itself will increase the days the target takes over a period of time. I believe, once again, the flinch debuff lasts something like 10 seconds. But yeah, Alice seems very strong so far. So let's see the rest of her kit. When Alice triggers an assault, supposedly can also be polar assault, increases her anomaly build-up rate by 25% for 20 seconds. This is also very powerful, because if you pair her up with Yuzuha, Yuzuha can also increase anomaly build-up rate for her entire team, I believe, by 20%. And having this one for Alice herself, and this being in the base kit, I guess you'll have a very nice anomaly application with Yuzuha, even against neutral enemies, and potentially maybe even on resistant enemies. I mean, it looks very good. And also, for every point of anomaly mastery exceeding over 140, she will increase her own AP anomaly proficiency, that is, by 1.5%. I assume her new V engine probably provides anomaly mastery or something like that, so you can take more advantage of this. And speaking of her V engine, let's go over that. The main stat of it now, 80% attack. As for the passive, now it has a 36 anomaly mastery increase, and also whenever you trigger assault, anomaly proficiency will be increased by plus 15, and it does last for 20 seconds, and it can stack up twice. You will also start with 2 stacks right away at the start of the battle, so pretty much as I suspected, her new mechanic of getting more AP depending if you go over 140 AM, as you can see, it's going to be much easier to get more out of that with her V engine. But I believe that even without her V engine signature, Alice is going to be pretty good. And honestly, after these changes in her kit, I'm much more interested in Alice, and I actually might pull her now because I do like Bernice Vivian gameplay a lot, and this type of rework that Alice received, I think it's gonna make her really good. And if you're an anomaly enjoyer, you know you could like get anomalies of all different elements on your account, have like really good coverage for all kinds of content, and have a great time. So yeah, I'm more excited for Alice now. Plus her swimsuit skin looks great. I don't like really her default design that much, but the skin, hey, it's great. All right, we also have some TLDRs. We'll go over that as well. So the TLDR of Alice, no longer crit based. She's all based on anomaly proficiency and anomaly mastery. She no longer has defense shred in her base kit, only put in M1, the dupe. Also now she makes assaults and disorder assaults stronger, and she can also automatically trigger disorder for teammates off field, similar to Vivian Feather. So yeah, I really like this playstyle a lot, and I think Alice is much more of an interesting character right now, if you ask me. We also have some Yuzuha changes, but before I talk about Yuzuha, I would like to let you know that a lot of you guys who watch me are not subscribed. If you'd like to support this small channel, feel free to subscribe. It's completely free of charge. Smile. And now let's talk about Yuzuha. So Yuzuha, by the looks of it, didn't receive that many changes. So her candy fry duration and buff duration has been increased to 40 seconds from 30 seconds, which used to be before. I think this is whatever. However, attack requirement has been reduced from 3,400 to 3,000. So this means it's going to be much easier to build her with attack drive disc. You'll definitely have the ability now to use easily drive disc, anomaly mastery, and all that stuff without worrying of not having enough attack to fully buff your team. The buff amount is exactly the same, 1,200 attack for an entire team, 20% damage boost, and also 20% anomaly build-up rate for an entire team, and also anomaly and disorder damage bonus scaling of anomaly mastery. So yeah, this is, I would say, quite a big buff, especially the attack requirement being reduced, because it's definitely going to be easier to build her without sacrificing certain other stats. They also have swapped, by the looks of it, her M1 and M2. M2 provides further 50% generic damage increase and anomaly build-up rate with her buff. Also, the raccoon will now automatically attack when Yuzuha is off field with 330 motion value per hit. They're not sure about the frequency. We'll have to see. Supposedly she also has fewer aftershocks compared to before. We also have a TLDR of TLDR for Alice. Feel free to pause the screen if you want to read this stuff in more detail. There is quite a lot, but generally I'm very happy with these changes because Alice now seems to be much more of like a Vivian, Bernice, I guess you could even say Yanagi, and I really like those type of characters, and now I'm much more interested in getting Alice. As for Yuzuha, for me the plan is still the same. I'm getting obviously Yuzuha as well. If Alice remains this type of gameplay and they don't revert it back to crit, DPS, whatever, I'll be very interested in Alice as well. Of course, just a heads up, there will be more changes, so perhaps some things will change, but I personally believe both of them will end up being pretty good on release, especially for Yuzuha long term. I could see her being really nice, and I believe also for Alice, with the way she works now, I think she's gonna have a pretty good lifespan within the game as well. So yeah, this is pretty much it for this video. If you have any questions or would like to add anything yourself, feel free to write it within the comments down below. Smile, and yeah, I wish you a wonderful day and see you in the next video. Ciao.